A relationship should be a safe space for both partners, where trust and communication are valued. If your partner refuses to change and continues to manipulate you, it may be best to walk away and protect your emotional health. Gaslighting leaves emotional scars by distorting reality. Another behavior that chips away at emotional well-being is when a partner disrespects your boundaries. Let's explore why this is so harmful. When a partner refuses to respect your emotional or physical boundaries, it can lead to feelings of discomfort and insecurity. Let's explore how to recognize this behavior and why it's harmful. Let's talk about one of the most common, yet often overlooked red flags in relationships: disrespect for boundaries. Boundaries are essential for healthy relationships. They are the lines that protect your emotional and physical well-being, and when they are crossed or ignored, it can create serious issues. A partner who disrespects your boundaries might pressure you to do things you're not comfortable with or invade your personal space without permission. For instance, they might insist that you spend all your time with them, ignoring your need for personal space, or they may disregard your emotional needs by demanding more attention or emotional labor than you can give. You could tell them you're not ready for certain things, like making big commitments or talking about a particular issue, but they may try to push you into it anyway, making you feel guilty or selfish for setting a limit. Another example is if they constantly invade your privacy. Maybe they look through your phone, read your personal messages, or demand to know where you are at all times. A partner who doesn't respect your boundaries sees your personal space as something they have a right to control, rather than something sacred that belongs to you. This behavior can make you feel unsafe and as though your needs and personal feelings don't matter. Disrespecting boundaries is dangerous because it undermines your sense of autonomy and personal integrity. When your partner ignores your boundaries, it sends the message that your feelings, thoughts, and needs are unimportant or secondary to theirs. This can erode your sense of self and lead to feelings of powerlessness or resentment. It's also a sign that your partner may be more concerned with their own desires than with your comfort or well-being. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and respecting each other's boundaries is fundamental. If a partner doesn't respect your boundaries, it shows they might not truly value you as an individual. Over time, this can lead to emotional burnout, frustration, and the breakdown of trust. The more boundaries are ignored or violated, the more you start questioning your own worth, making it harder for you to assert your needs and stand up for yourself. Recognizing when your boundaries are being disrespected can be tricky, especially if your partner is manipulative or dismissive. However, here are some key signs to look out for. 1. They pressure you to do things you're not comfortable with. This could be anything from pushing you into taking steps in your relationship before you're ready, like moving in together or getting married, to making you feel bad for needing alone time or space. If you've said no or made a request, and they keep pushing, that's a clear sign of boundary disrespect. 2. They invade your privacy. A partner who frequently checks your phone, reads your texts, or demands to know your passwords is crossing a line. This is not about care or concern, but about control. Everyone has the right to their privacy, and no partner should feel entitled to access your personal information without permission. 3. They don't listen when you express discomfort. If you express that something bothers you, and they ignore or belittle your feelings, this is a significant sign of boundary violation. A caring partner will listen and respect your feelings, not dismiss them or try to convince you that you're overreacting. 4. They make you feel guilty for asserting your boundaries. Sometimes, a partner will try to make you feel selfish or unreasonable for asking for your space or standing up for your needs. If they guilt-trip you into changing your mind or make you feel bad for setting limits, it's a sign that your boundaries are not being respected. 5. They don't respect your emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are just as important as physical ones. If your partner constantly pushes you to share things you're not ready to talk about, or if they demand emotional support from you without reciprocating, they're disrespecting your emotional space. Disrespecting boundaries doesn't just harm the immediate dynamics of your relationship, it can have long-term consequences on your emotional health. When your boundaries aren't respected, it can lead to a sense of emotional exhaustion and resentment. Over time, you might begin to feel like your needs don't matter, that your voice isn't heard, and that your personal space is being invaded. When someone constantly disrespects your boundaries, they are signaling that they do not see you as an equal partner. They are disregarding your rights to autonomy, privacy, and self-determination. This can lead to feelings of helplessness and isolation. You might start to question whether you have the right to say no, or take care of yourself, and that is a dangerous place to be in. Another danger is that continuous boundary violations can result in emotional dependency. If your partner is not respecting your space and needs, you may start to feel like you can't function without them. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you are unable to distinguish where your needs end and your partner's begin. Emotional codependency can develop, which is toxic and often leaves both individuals feeling drained and unfulfilled in the relationship. The long-term impact of having your boundaries disrespected can be severe. It can lead to a slow erosion of your sense of self and personal identity. If you're constantly adjusting to meet your partner's demands while ignoring your own needs, you might lose touch with your core values, desires, and beliefs. One of the most dangerous long-term effects is emotional burnout. You may feel like you're constantly giving without receiving, which can lead to feelings of resentment and fatigue. Over time, this may affect your emotional well-being and prevent you from engaging in healthy, fulfilling relationships in the future. Disrespecting boundaries can also create an imbalance of power in the relationship. If your partner feels entitled to make decisions for you or ignore your preferences, it sets a dangerous precedent for the future of your relationship. Instead of being partners, you may feel like you are under their control, and this imbalance of power can lead to deeper issues such as emotional manipulation, control, and even abuse. So, what can you do if your boundaries are being disrespected? The first step is to assert your boundaries clearly and confidently. Whether it's needing personal time, privacy, or emotional space, let your partner know what is acceptable and what is not. Stand firm in your beliefs and be ready to enforce your limits without feeling guilty or selfish. If your partner continues to disrespect your boundaries, it may be time to have a serious conversation about the future of the relationship. Tell them how their behavior makes you feel and how it affects your emotional well-being. A healthy partner will listen, reflect, and respect your needs. However, if they continue to ignore your boundaries or dismiss your concerns, this is a red flag that the relationship may not be as healthy as it seems. Lastly, it's essential to seek support from others. Talk to friends, family members, or a therapist about your experiences. Having an outside perspective can help you gain clarity and empower you to take action. If you feel unsafe or overwhelmed, it may be necessary to take a break from the relationship or consider ending it for your own well-being. Now that we've discussed boundary issues, let's move on to another critical red flag: inconsistent or withholding affection. In a healthy relationship, affection should be steady and genuine, but if it's inconsistent or manipulative, it can leave you feeling unsure and emotionally drained. Let's dive into why this behavior is so dangerous. When boundaries are disrespected, it can lead to a sense of insecurity. Another red flag that creates emotional uncertainty is inconsistent or withheld affection. Let's discuss why this can be so damaging. If you find that your partner's affection is unpredictable, one moment they're all over you, showing you love and attention, and the next, they pull away and seem emotionally distant, that's a serious red flag. It might seem confusing at first, but this inconsistency can have a major impact on your emotional stability in the relationship. For example, imagine your partner is incredibly affectionate when things are going well, giving you compliments, showering you with love, and being intimate. But when conflict arises, or when they're upset, they withhold that affection. They might stop texting, avoid eye contact, or give you the cold shoulder. They could even make you feel like you've done something wrong, but they refuse to discuss it openly. Withholding affection can also be more subtle. They might give you just enough attention to keep you around but stop making you feel truly loved. They'll pull back when things get too serious or when you start needing reassurance. This kind of inconsistency leaves you questioning where you stand in the relationship and wondering if they even care about you at all. Withholding affection or being inconsistent with affection is dangerous because it creates emotional instability and confusion. You begin to feel as though you can't predict what kind of relationship you're going to have from day to day. This unpredictability can cause you to feel anxious and uncertain, making it difficult to feel secure in the relationship. When affection is given inconsistently, you start to feel as if you have to earn it. This creates a situation where you're constantly seeking approval or validation from your partner, which can lead to emotional dependence. You may find yourself doing things just to get their attention or love, which can be exhausting and emotionally draining. The longer this behavior continues, the more your sense of self-worth becomes tied to their affection. You might find yourself questioning if you're lovable or worthy, when in reality, it's their behavior that is creating the problem. They should be loving you consistently, regardless of their mood or the state of the relationship. The lack of affection can eventually make you feel abandoned or rejected, even if it's not the case. It's a manipulation tactic that can wear you down over time. Here are a few signs that affection in your relationship might be inconsistent or withheld. 1. They shower you with love when things are going well, but when there's conflict, they completely withdraw, refusing to give you any emotional support or attention. 2. They constantly give you mixed signals. One moment they're affectionate and talk about the future, and the next, they're distant and avoid discussing any meaningful topics. You might feel like you're walking on eggshells, waiting for their mood to change. 3. They make you feel like you're asking for too much when you express your need for affection or reassurance. When you seek out comfort or support, they either ignore you or give you a cold response. 4. They give you silent treatment or punish you by withholding affection, making you feel as though you've done something wrong, but they won't communicate with you about the issue. This leaves you feeling isolated and uncertain. 5. You find yourself constantly wondering if they love you, questioning their feelings, or asking yourself why you're not getting the same level of attention or affection that you used to receive. Inconsistent affection can have a lasting impact on your emotional well-being. It creates an emotional roller coaster, where you feel on top of the world 1 minute and completely rejected the next. This kind of emotional instability can lead to anxiety, depression, and self-doubt. The push and pull dynamic, affection one day, distance the next, leaves you constantly on edge, never knowing where you stand. Over time, this behavior can erode your self-esteem. You might begin to feel like you're unworthy of their affection or that something is wrong with you. This can create an unhealthy emotional dependency, where you begin to seek validation from your partner rather than learning to rely on your own sense of self-worth. You might also lose trust in your partner, which is one of the most crucial elements of any healthy relationship. This unpredictability can leave you in a constant state of emotional flux. When you're on the receiving end of affection, it feels amazing, but the withdrawal can be painful and leave you feeling abandoned. You might try to change yourself or adjust your behavior to receive affection, which can lead to a loss of your individuality and a fear of being alone. The long-term effects of inconsistent or withheld affection can be very damaging to your mental and emotional health. Over time, this behavior can create trust issues in the relationship. You'll begin to doubt your partner's sincerity or wonder if they truly care for you. This can lead to insecurity, jealousy, and emotional exhaustion as you constantly chase after affection and reassurance. Moreover, withholding affection can undermine your connection with your partner. Healthy relationships are built on a foundation of mutual affection and trust. If one person consistently withholds affection, it creates an imbalance in the relationship, where one partner is constantly giving and the other is constantly taking. Eventually, this could cause resentment and dissatisfaction, and it might even lead to the relationship falling apart. Another long-term effect is the development of anxiety or depression. Feeling like you have to earn love or affection can be exhausting and damaging to your self-esteem. If you're constantly questioning whether your partner loves you or if you've done something wrong to deserve their attention, it creates an emotional barrier that can be difficult to overcome. If you're experiencing inconsistent or withheld affection in your relationship, the first thing you need to do is communicate your needs openly. Let your partner know how this behavior is affecting you. Sometimes, people withhold affection unintentionally or because they're dealing with their own emotional issues, but it's important that they know how it's making you feel. Setting clear boundaries around affection is key. If you need regular reassurance or affection to feel emotionally connected, don't be afraid to express that need. A healthy relationship is based on mutual understanding and respect, and your needs matter just as much as your partner's. However, if your partner refuses to listen or continues withholding affection without explanation, it may be time to reconsider the relationship. A partner who loves you should make you feel secure and cared for, not confused or neglected. If the behavior persists, it could be a sign of deeper issues, and it's important to evaluate whether you're truly getting the emotional support you deserve in this relationship. Recognizing these red flags early can save you heartache. If you notice these behaviors, reassess the relationship and prioritize your emotional well-being. Which of these red flags have you experienced? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story could help others. Let me share a true life story to help bring everything we've discussed so far into perspective. This is the story of Lisa, a woman who was in a relationship with someone who displayed multiple toxic behaviors, including criticism, manipulation, and inconsistency in affection. We'll call her Lisa to protect her privacy. Lisa met Mark when they were both in their early 20s. At first, everything seemed perfect. Mark was charming, attentive, and full of compliments. But as time went on, Lisa began to notice small things that didn't quite sit right. Mark would occasionally make comments about her appearance, not in a kind or encouraging way, but in a way that made her feel self-conscious. At first, she brushed it off. After all, he said he was just being honest, right? But the comments didn't stop. They began to grow more frequent, and Lisa started feeling like she could never do anything right. He would call her too sensitive when she expressed her feelings, or suggest that she should look more like someone else, someone he thought was perfect. He would also belittle her career choices, telling her that she could be doing so much more with her life if she were more like his exes. The criticism was never overtly harsh, but it was enough to make Lisa question her worth. Eventually, Lisa began withdrawing emotionally from Mark. She stopped confiding in him, stopped sharing her dreams, and began to second-guess everything she did. She found herself constantly trying to meet his expectations, but nothing seemed to satisfy him. His compliments became fewer and farther between, and she noticed that when she did something right, he barely acknowledged it, but when she made a mistake, he would point it out sharply. One day, after a particularly harsh comment about her appearance, Lisa finally realized that this was more than just constructive criticism. It wasn't helping her grow, it was slowly chipping away at her self-esteem. She had started to feel like she couldn't win. She felt like she wasn't enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough, not good enough. She was constantly walking on eggshells around him, trying to avoid triggering his harsh remarks. Lisa's confidence was slowly eroding, and she felt trapped in a relationship that wasn't supportive, nurturing, or healthy. It took Lisa several months to realize that the emotional toll was too great. She finally made the difficult decision to break up with Mark. It wasn't easy, but as soon as she ended the relationship, a huge weight lifted off her shoulders. She could finally breathe again. She started rebuilding her self-esteem, reconnecting with friends she had neglected, and focusing on her own happiness. She realized she didn't need to change herself to meet anyone's standards, she was enough just as she was. If Lisa had recognized these red flags earlier, things could have been different. When Mark first began making those subtle criticisms, Lisa might have been able to set clear boundaries. For example, when he commented about her appearance or her career, she could have firmly communicated that those remarks were hurtful and unacceptable. Instead of dismissing her own feelings, Lisa could have asserted her need for respect in the relationship. If she had recognized that constant belittling wasn't constructive feedback, but emotional manipulation, she might have been able to take a step back and reflect on the situation sooner. She could have asked herself, is this the kind of relationship I want? Does this person make me feel better about myself, or worse? But in the beginning, Lisa didn't see the red flags for what they were. She assumed that this was just part of a normal relationship dynamic. It wasn't until she felt emotionally drained and worn down that she finally saw how toxic the relationship had become. Recognizing the signs early on could have allowed Lisa to establish boundaries from the start. Instead of letting the subtle criticism and emotional distance fester, she might have been able to address these behaviors directly, possibly preventing the situation from escalating to the point where she felt trapped. But because Lisa didn't address the issues right away, she lost months of her life in a relationship that took more from her than it gave. It's clear that recognizing red flags early in a relationship can make all the difference. If you're in a relationship where you're constantly being criticized, made to feel inferior, or left questioning your worth, it's crucial to speak up before it gets worse. Setting boundaries and communicating your feelings is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. And if you find that your partner is unwilling to listen or make changes, it's okay to walk away. Your emotional health and self-esteem are worth more than staying in a relationship that isn't serving you. Recognizing the signs of toxic behaviors early on can save you a lot of emotional distress. It allows you to either address the issues head-on or make the decision to leave before you get too entangled in a relationship that isn't healthy for you. Always trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Your feelings matter, and your needs should never be ignored. Have you ever been in a relationship where you ignored red flags, only to realize later that they were signs of toxic behavior? Share your experience in the comments below, we'd love to hear from you. And remember, if this video is helping you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. These discussions are important, and we're here to build a community of support for one another. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever ignored a red flag in a relationship? Maybe you brushed off something that now, looking back, seems like a big warning sign. What happened when you realized it was a red flag? Was it a wake-up call, or did it take a while for you to take action? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about how we can protect ourselves from toxic relationships and make better choices moving forward. Your story could help someone else who might be going through something similar. Also, let's dive a little deeper. Do you think you've ever experienced gaslighting in a relationship? Gaslighting can be tricky because it often makes you second-guess your own reality. How did it make you feel when it happened? Were you able to recognize it at the time, or did it take some time for you to understand what was going on? Share your thoughts below, and let's have an honest conversation about how we can spot this behavior and protect ourselves from it. If you've noticed some of these red flags in your relationship, the first and most important thing you can do is have an open conversation with your partner. I know, this might sound easier said than done, especially if things have been tense or uncomfortable for a while. But communication is truly the key to understanding one another and addressing any issues head-on. The challenge here is making sure you approach the conversation in a way that doesn't trigger defensiveness or cause your partner to shut down. No one likes to feel attacked, and that's the last thing you want when trying to address these red flags. Start by focusing on your feelings and experiences rather than accusing or blaming your partner. Instead of saying, "You always criticize me, and it makes me feel terrible," try saying something like, "I've been feeling hurt and insecure when certain comments are made, and I wanted to talk about how we can address this." The key here is using "I" statements, which help prevent your partner from feeling personally attacked. You want them to understand how their actions are affecting you, but without making them feel like they need to defend themselves immediately. Another way to keep the conversation productive is to stay calm and stay focused on the issue at hand. It can be easy to get emotional or even heated, but that will only derail the conversation. If you find yourself getting upset, take a deep breath and remind yourself that this is about finding a solution, not a fight. Remember, the goal is not to win the argument, but to come to a mutual understanding. Be open to listening to your partner's perspective too, as it can help you both understand where the issues are coming from. The more open and honest both of you are, the better chance you have of addressing the red flags and improving the relationship. Once you've had that important conversation, the next step is setting clear, respectful boundaries. Boundaries are not about controlling your partner or being rigid in your demands, they're about taking care of your emotional well-being and ensuring your relationship remains healthy. Setting boundaries is essential for protecting yourself from toxic behaviors, but it can feel intimidating if you've never had to do it before. So let's break it down into simple steps to make it easier to understand and communicate. 1. Before you can set a boundary, you need to know what you need. What are the behaviors you're no longer willing to tolerate? It's important to be specific. For example, instead of saying, "I need you to stop criticizing me," say, "I need you to stop making comments about my appearance because it hurts my feelings." By clearly defining your needs, you're setting yourself up for a more productive conversation. 2. Once you've identified your boundaries, it's time to communicate them. This doesn't mean you're giving your partner an ultimatum, but you're making it clear what's acceptable and what isn't. Again, it's important to use I statements to express how certain behaviors affect you. For example, when you raise your voice, "I feel scared and unheard. I need us to talk calmly so that we can communicate better." This approach doesn't blame or accuse, it simply explains how you feel. 3. Setting boundaries requires you to be firm and confident, but that doesn't mean you have to be harsh. Boundaries are about self-respect and self-care, not about punishment or control. A firm but kind approach shows that you are serious about your emotional needs, but also that you care about the relationship and your partner's feelings. 4. Boundaries are not one-sided. After setting your boundaries, give your partner a chance to express their thoughts and feelings. Maybe they weren't aware that their behavior was affecting you, or maybe they need some time to process the changes you're asking for. Be patient, but stand firm in what you need. 5. Setting a boundary once is a good start, but maintaining it is what counts. If your partner tries to cross your boundaries again, don't hesitate to remind them of your needs. For example, remember, "I've asked you not to raise your voice when we're talking. It's important to me that we have calm conversations." It's crucial to be consistent and stick to your boundaries to prevent toxic behaviors from creeping back in. Setting boundaries can feel difficult, especially if you've allowed certain behaviors to slide for a while. But if you don't make your needs clear, it's unlikely that your partner will be able to meet them. You are responsible for your own emotional health, and your partner should be supportive of that. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, walking away is the healthiest option. This can be one of the hardest decisions to make, especially if you care deeply about the person and have invested time and energy into the relationship. But staying in a toxic relationship can take a serious toll on your emotional and mental well-being. So, how do you know when it's time to walk away? Here are some signs to help you determine whether leaving is the right choice. 1. If you've communicated your concerns and set boundaries, but your partner continues to ignore or dismiss your feelings, it's a sign that they may not be willing to change. A healthy relationship involves mutual respect and effort from both sides. If your partner refuses to take responsibility for their actions or constantly downplays your concerns, it might be time to move on. 2. A relationship should bring you joy, comfort, and support. If you constantly feel drained, anxious, or depressed, it's a sign that the relationship is having a negative impact on your emotional health. You shouldn't have to feel exhausted from trying to make things work with someone who isn't meeting you halfway. 3. Toxic behaviors, such as gaslighting, emotional abuse, and control, tend to escalate over time. What may start as subtle remarks or actions can turn into more overt forms of manipulation or emotional harm. If the situation is getting worse and you don't see any signs of improvement, it might be time to leave before the situation becomes even more damaging. 4. One of the most significant signs that it's time to walk away is when you feel like you've lost yourself. If you've become so consumed by trying to please your partner or adjusting to their needs that you've forgotten who you are, it's a sign that the relationship is unhealthy. You should never have to sacrifice your sense of self to maintain a relationship. If you ever feel physically or emotionally unsafe, walking away is the safest and most responsible decision. Your safety should always come first. If your partner has ever been abusive or made you feel threatened, don't wait for things to get worse. Seek help from trusted friends, family, or professional resources, and prioritize your safety above all else. Walking away from a toxic relationship is not a failure, it's an act of self-care. It takes immense strength and courage to let go of someone you once cared about, but staying in a relationship that harms you is not the solution. Remember, you deserve love, respect, and emotional safety, and if your partner is unwilling to provide that, you are better off moving on. Addressing red flags in a relationship requires honesty, courage, and a commitment to self-respect. Communication and setting boundaries are essential, but sometimes, despite our best efforts, walking away is the healthiest choice. The most important thing is to prioritize your own emotional well-being and never feel like you have to settle for less than what you deserve. As always, if you're struggling with toxic behaviors in your relationship, don't hesitate to seek support. Talk to trusted friends, family, or even a professional who can help guide you through the process of healing and moving forward. You are worthy of love, respect, and a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Prevention and maintaining healthy relationships. When it comes to healthy relationships, trust and respect are the cornerstones. These two qualities are essential not just to surviving a relationship, but thriving in it. Without trust, a relationship becomes fragile, and without respect, it becomes toxic. Both of these aspects need to be nurtured from the very beginning, and consistently maintained as the relationship progresses. So, how do you build trust and respect in a relationship? The foundation starts with being honest and open with one another. Transparency is key. This doesn't mean you have to share every single thought you've ever had, but it does mean that you shouldn't hide things that are important to the relationship or your well-being. For example, if something's bothering you, don't keep it to yourself, thinking it'll just blow over. Share your feelings in a calm, respectful way. It's about creating a safe space where both partners can speak their minds without fear of judgment or retribution. Similarly, respecting each other's boundaries and individuality also plays a huge role. Everyone has different needs and limits, and it's important that both of you acknowledge and respect those. Building trust also means showing up consistently. If you say you'll do something, do it. Reliability and dependability strengthen the trust in your relationship. If you're constantly making promises that you don't keep, or if you're lying or hiding things from your partner, trust begins to erode. Be someone your partner can rely on, not just when it's convenient, but in all situations. Respecting each other also involves honoring each other's feelings, needs, and opinions. Even if you don't always agree, showing respect for your partner's point of view is essential. It means listening to them when they talk, making an effort to understand where they're coming from, and never belittling their thoughts or feelings. A relationship where both partners feel heard and valued is one built on mutual respect. Recognizing healthy relationship habits. A healthy relationship isn't just about avoiding toxic behaviors, it's also about embracing habits that strengthen the bond and foster growth. So, what are some of the signs of a healthy relationship? Let's take a closer look. One of the key markers of a healthy relationship is open communication. This doesn't mean you have to talk all the time or share every detail of your day, but it means that you are comfortable discussing important topics, from your dreams and aspirations to your concerns and frustrations. In a healthy relationship, there's no fear of bringing up difficult conversations because both partners know they can speak honestly and be heard. In a healthy relationship, you also support each other's goals. This is incredibly important, especially in long-term partnerships. If both of you are committed to supporting each other's dreams, personal growth, and ambitions, it shows a deeper level of investment in the relationship. You should both feel like cheerleaders for one another, celebrating each other's successes and offering encouragement when times get tough. Another important aspect is shared respect. Respect goes beyond just listening to your partner or honoring their needs. It involves recognizing that your partner's well-being, happiness, and growth matter just as much as your own. A healthy relationship means supporting each other's decisions, allowing each other to grow individually, and never trying to change the other person to fit your own expectations. Equally important is emotional availability. Both partners should feel emotionally safe and supported. A healthy relationship involves being there for each other in both good times and bad. This means being emotionally present during difficult conversations, showing empathy during tough times, and celebrating the wins together. Additionally, healthy relationships foster an environment of trust where both partners feel confident and secure. Trust isn't just about being faithful to each other, it's about knowing that your partner will stand by you, no matter what. It's knowing that both of you are committed to working through challenges and growing together. A lack of trust doesn't just harm the present, it threatens the future of the relationship. In a healthy relationship, fun and enjoyment are also essential. Relationships should bring joy, laughter, and happiness. It's important to enjoy spending time with each other, to have fun, and to not just see each other as a partner but also as a friend. Whether it's traveling, cooking dinner together, or just enjoying a quiet night in, finding moments of shared happiness strengthens your connection. Now that we've discussed what makes a relationship healthy, let's talk about how you can maintain these habits over time. Relationships, like anything in life, require consistent effort. Maintaining a healthy relationship isn't something that happens by accident. It requires active participation from both partners. One simple yet effective habit is holding regular check-ins with each other. This doesn't have to be a formal sit-down meeting, but just making space for both of you to talk openly about how the relationship is going. Ask questions like, "How are we doing as a couple?" or, "Is there anything I could do to make you feel more supported or loved?" These conversations help both partners stay aligned and feel heard. 2. In the hustle of everyday life, it's easy to forget to show gratitude. However, regular expressions of appreciation, whether it's complimenting your partner, saying thank you for their help, or just acknowledging the little things they do, can go a long way. Small acts of kindness and appreciation strengthen the emotional bond between you and create a positive atmosphere in the relationship. 3. Life can get busy, but it's essential to invest in quality time together. It could be date nights, weekend trips, or even just a few minutes each day where you can check in with each other. The key is consistency. The more time you spend together, the stronger your emotional connection will be. This quality time helps you continue building the trust and respect you need to maintain a healthy relationship. 4. Disagreements are inevitable in any relationship. However, it's how you handle those disagreements that makes all the difference. Healthy couples know how to fight fair. Instead of attacking each other, they focus on the issue at hand and work together to find a solution. It's also important to take breaks if needed. Stepping away for a moment to calm down before returning to the conversation can prevent things from getting out of hand. 5. A healthy relationship means you support each other's individual growth. This could mean encouraging your partner to pursue their passions or personal goals, or making sure you have space to grow yourself. When both partners feel like they are growing individually and as a couple, it creates a strong, dynamic relationship that can weather life's challenges. 6. If things aren't going well in your relationship, it's important to seek help before the situation worsens. This could mean talking to a counselor or therapist who specializes in relationship dynamics. Seeking help doesn't mean the relationship is doomed, it's a sign that both of you are willing to work through the issues and come out stronger on the other side. Maintaining a healthy relationship isn't about being perfect, it's about committing to the process of growing together, supporting each other, and nurturing the trust and respect that is vital for both partners. Relationships take work, but the rewards are immense: emotional fulfillment, companionship, and shared growth. Whether you're in a new relationship or have been together for years, the habits and practices that create a strong foundation will ensure that you both continue to thrive, both as individuals and as a couple. If you want your relationship to stand the test of time, it starts with understanding the value of trust and respect. Commit to healthy habits, communicate openly, and prioritize your connection. By doing so, you will cultivate a loving and supportive environment that allows you both to flourish together. Now that we've discussed the red flags to look out for, let's talk about something very important: never settle for less than you deserve. Healthy relationships are not about compromising your happiness or your self-worth. They are built on mutual respect, understanding, and trust. If you find yourself in a situation where these basic principles are not being honored, don't feel guilty for taking a step back. Don't settle for toxicity because you feel obligated to stay. Your happiness matters. It's easy to get stuck in the cycle of justifying bad behavior, thinking things will get better or hoping your partner will change. But remember this: people change when they want to, not because you hope they will. If your partner refuses to acknowledge the issues or change their toxic behavior, it's not your responsibility to stay and suffer. Your responsibility is to yourself. You deserve a relationship where you feel valued, respected, and loved for who you truly are. You deserve a partnership where both people work together to build each other up and create a safe and loving environment. Don't let fear, guilt, or pressure keep you in a relationship that drags you down. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself and for the relationship is to walk away. And remember, walking away doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong for recognizing your worth and prioritizing your happiness. If you're currently in a toxic relationship, seek help, whether that's talking to a trusted friend or a professional. Reaching out for support isn't a sign of weakness, it's a brave step toward taking control of your own life and your future. No one should have to endure emotional or mental harm in the name of love. If this video helped you recognize red flags, take action today. Like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. What red flags have you encountered in past relationships? How did you handle them? Let's talk about how we can protect ourselves from toxic relationships and build healthier connections. And if you know someone who might need to hear this message, please share this video with them. You never know how a simple share could change someone's perspective or even their life. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos that can help you live your best life in relationships and beyond. I want to continue supporting you, so you can stay empowered and informed. Thank you for watching. If this video resonated, share it with someone who might need it. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on building healthy relationships. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, stay strong, stay confident, and take care of your heart. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.